Now, speaking of nutritional value, you turned me on to Shilajit. It's this, I would say, pretty cool, amazing thing with a lot of nutritional value. Can you talk about that and inform people who've never heard of it? Because I knew lots of people. Apparently, everyone here at the medical center knew about it, but
Right.
me. But I never heard of this. And looking into it, it really is interesting. It reminded me of something else, diatomaceous earth, right? That's
Yeah, yeah.
also from the ground, and has this good value to a lot of things. And this too comes, but not from ocean really, but from top of the mountains in a
Right.
sense, in the Himalayas and elsewhere. So can you go into a little bit about Shilajit, even how you heard about it and what you found with it?
So interesting thing about diatomaceous earth and Shilajit is that they're both from biomass, except they're from different biomass. So diatomaceous earth comes from silica and carbon based. I guess it is amoeba, if I'm not mistaken, and they're basically like these crystallized shells that once the cell has died, just becomes silica and carbon and some of the other minerals that you find in diatomaceous earth. Similarly, Shilajit is biomass, once living cells, once living bacteria, viruses, parasites, helminths, plants, roots, fruits. I mean, everything that you find in an environment is in conjunction Shilajit over a period of time, and a lot of pressure that's been exerted, a lot of degradation of compounds through enzymatic pathways and so on. How Shilajit is formed, or basically where most of the Shilajit is in the Himalayas. And how it was formed was once the Indian seabed hit what's now modern day India, it created the Himalayan mountains. All of that biomass had been accumulated and clumped into this really high pressurized system that degraded everything. It's basically old, really fermented, if you will, food basically. And because of the way it's been pressurized, all of these compounds have merged together, and you find a really rich biomass that contains humic acid, humates, which are really good for the soil, but also your gut health, regenerating the epithelial lining of your gut. You find fulvic acid, which acts as almost like an ionophore, where it triggers certain compounds to go inside of cells. It triggers metallothionein proteins to bind to zinc and so on, where they become bioavailable, triggers ferritin to bind to iron and so on. It has trace minerals that you would not find elsewhere, like rubidium or selenium and so on. And at the same time, it has these interesting antioxidant chemicals like alpha benzopyrones, which exert some really interesting properties. In terms of the dosing, though, it matters because too much can be a bad thing. Too much fulvic acid, alpha benzopyrones can also be detrimental, just like the coffee we just talked about. So the amount that you need for Shilajit to be medicinal is so little. But even then, when you look at research and how Shilajit has been used, there's been some trials where it's been used for athletes and testosterone performance and how much you're getting out of free testosterone. And doses around 200 to 400 milligrams can be useful. I decide to kind of do little doses every day or every other day. I never do it more than 3 days in a row. And I'm looking at 10 to 20 milligrams per dose on a daily basis. It has brought me, at the very least, more focus, more stability in terms of my mood. And I do feel a general calm that otherwise, when I'm not consuming Shilajit, is not present.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it since you turned me on to it. It's been about 3, 4 weeks. I've been taking about 3 or 4 times a week as well.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, I do it with either mud water or even tea.
Yeah.
It's a weird taste, right? It's like
Yeah.
an earthy,
Yep.
metallic,
Yep.
and that smell too. It's like a resin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks strange, and it kind of melts in whatever hot the liquid. What do you take it with?
I take it with water and a little bit of lime for the vitamin C. I
Okay.
like the iron. One of the things that I like from traditional Chinese medicine, I know it's a little bit off topic, but it's the way they use other means like the body to diagnose certain things. So the moons on your nails, if they are missing, which most of mine were at some point, it indicates either certain things like infections, but also you're anemic and you may be a low grade anemia. And this is something I've noticed. Sometimes I have spouts of reduction in energy. And I think one of the reasons why is from drinking coffee, because caffeine is a chelator of
Mhm.
minerals like iron. And I used to drink a lot of coffee. So this is something I've noticed. By taking Shilajit, you're getting iron. But to make it even more bioavailable, you need ascorbic acid or vitamin C. I like to use natural version. So I use lime and I squeeze a little bit of lime with hot water to utilize more of that iron and get it into my system as I need it.
That's a really good tip. And I mean, it's one of those things that's so natural. I mean, I love just lemon juice in the morning with
Mm-hmm.
hot water and I've even been doing liver flush with, you put cayenne, some Himalayan salts,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
olive oil, apple cider vinegar, all that great stuff. It tastes atrocious, but it is healthy, and I do get a kick from that cayenne itself, probably even better than the caffeine and coffee.